Good morning, my lovely friends. Welcome back to the channel. So, being May, I thought we'd do a mermaid. And I promised paint pens, so we are going to do paint pens. Now, if you haven't seen Denyse Klette's books, she has got Birds in the Forest, Fairies in Dreamland, Gnomes in the Neighbourhood, Birds, oh, I've just said Birds, and this one, Mermaids in Paradise. And I've only, to my shock, ever coloured 2 pages. I can't remember which ones are on YouTube. I know I did easy watercolour back painting, so I don't know if it was this one or this one, but I've only ever coloured 2, and my colouring's changed quite a bit since then, I think, but I think one of them at least is on the channel, and that's all I've done. It's a disgrace to humankind what is going on. So I promised that I would do paint pens. Now, being my birthday at the end of the week, woohoo! My lovely friends Kevin and Joelle got me these 168 colour of acrylic markers. They are fantastic. They have the easy flow ink fill there, so you just shake them and off you go. 168 colours. Let me just, this is not a review, but I'm just showing you. There's the colours you get, look. And I still find that I want more. So I mix up my sets. So I'm going to use this set today because I absolutely adore them. These are, I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. They're on Amazon, Temu, places like that. But they've got, what I do love about it is, if you look, these gorgeous pastel-y colours into the saturated colours. So if you're trying to blend, and their brush tips, let me show you one. Let me get this dark blue out. They've got the number on the top, and you just shake them to get them going, and a brush tip. So I think they're around about £70 on Amazon, and probably not far off that on Temu, to be honest. But look at those colours, man. So I tend to mix them up because I am so shaky. I need more precision. So I tend to mix them up with my Tule Art pastel set of colours and the white. Gel pens, and I use, I might chuck in the Earth set. I've got a lot, but I use the Earth set an awful lot. And Southwestern has some lovely colours too. But we'll see how far we can go. So I'm going to try and stick to the 168 and my pastel set and see how we get on. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm more than likely going to have to pull out some pencils, I think. But this is the page that I'd chosen to do our mermaid with. Now, there is quite a lot of background. Oh, was it this page? Was it this page? Or was it? I thought I'd selected another one. I'll just give you a quick flip if you haven't seen this book. Was it this one? I thought. Might have been. No. Oh, how strange. Or it might have been that one, because I've got. No, we'll do this one. Okay, stick with the one that was marked. Okay, so if we break this down into bits, obviously acrylic paint pens cover over your lines. Not always. These are particularly good for that because they're not massively opaque. You have to sort of layer them. And I'm rambling because I'm quite nervous. Usually I would colour like with pencil or alcohol marker and then go in and do the paint pens, but we're going to give this a go. I did try it on that Amazon paper, and these books are single-sided, and as you can see from that page that I did here, I loaded that with paint. It's so textured. I don't even know what I used. I don't know what I used for that. Can't remember, it's so long ago. This would have been the not Artex, the Arteza metallic watercolour paints, this background. Okay, so we're going to try, oh gosh. So I've got some watery colours out here. I'll put the colour numbers on in case you have this set. I'll put the numbers on the screen. They don't have colour names, just says automatic ink, big volume, water based. Oh, is that a number? No. Okay, so I'll put the numbers on the screen like usual, and we're going to go for it. So I've got this lot. Look at this very, very, very pale green. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just going to see how it goes. I mean, I might fluff it up completely. I'm going to have to make myself some room. I might fluff this up completely because I haven't done a whole page with markers. So let me stop my waffle and we're going to go in. So I'm going to go in with my dark one down the bottom here, which is 616. I'm going to give it a shake and we're just going to see how we get on. Okay, so that's rock down here. So the good thing about it is you can, oh, I'm so shaky today, you can take out thick black lines if you don't want them there. So I'm just going to fill this up. Look how juicy these are. I'm so lucky to have the friends and the support that I get. So Kevin is a long-term subscriber and has become a really good support and friend on the channel. He's brought numerous things for me in the past to do on the channel, and I'm so grateful to him. And Joelle, bless her heart, she is also an extremely good friend, member and Patreon, and I mentioned on one video that I wanted these pens, and she bought them for my birthday too. So I've got 2 sets, and I know I'm very lucky, and I don't take things for granted, I really don't. So being able to know that I've got that backup of favourite colours is just wonderful. And I don't at all take for granted the position I'm in, and how lucky I am with the friends that I've got and the support and love that everybody shows me. So there will be an emotional video coming up because my Patreons and members have clubbed together and brought me the most incredible birthday gifts. Now, I'm more than likely going to get emotional. I always do. And I got a bit of backlash for it last year. Like, people didn't understand why I got emotional. And it's not because I don't like to receive gifts. It's because it touches me that people bother to do this kind of thing for me. You know? When I started the YouTube journey, I never in a million years thought that 5 years on I would still be here and have a Patreon and a membership and the friends that I've made. So yes, it is emotional, and I think, you know, I have every right to get emotional. So there. Okay, so we've got that dark colour in. Let's switch to the next colour. And what you have to do is, like any painting, is come back in afterwards. So you let it dry in between. And because they're paint pens, they don't take too long. Boy, I'm going to have to keep these pens separate. So this is 820. Just giving that a shake. And then I'm going to come in here. Now, if you want to blend, you're going to have to come in while they're wet and do it. So this is not going to blend. This is just going to go on for me to start layering up the new colours. I am so shaky today. It's terrible. So I had a blood test. For any of you that are out there that know about this kind of thing, I got a pharmacy approved diabetes sugar test, you know, blood sugar test, because I was having symptoms like, I still got them, pins and needles in my legs, really dry feet, sweating at night. I know it's not, I'm just asking for advice out there. Well, my blood test came back completely normal, but they said just to keep monitoring. And you know what it's like over here in the UK. We the NHS is struggling, so follow-up is very challenging. But so I am testing, and I'm doing it when I haven't had anything to eat, and then I can change the machine so that I've had something to eat, and then test sort of a couple of hours after I've eaten. And sometimes during the day it's completely in the normal range. Then other times I go really shaky, and if I test my blood sugar, like yesterday, it was 13.5. Now, what does that mean? What's going on? I don't understand. So if anybody out there that is diabetic and watching, or knows, you know, what is going on, let me know. Please. Okay, so this is 819. So I'm just going to change up these colours, and then we'll get them in, and then we'll see how much blending we need to do, if any. And the other good thing about it is your gel pens, your white, if you let it dry in between, work amazing over the top. So your white Poscas and everything else work brilliantly. But not only that, if you've got pain, but you know, you're desperate to colour, these are, you know, just, it's like a dream. And these aren't as opaque, but if you have Artex ones, you can tell the difference in quality. So I'm going to go in now with the 818. Now I'm just saying, because I absolutely adore these pens, and so I'm not running them down at all. They are brilliant to colour with, absolutely beautiful. But I'm just saying that there is a difference. I know that there's been videos where people are saying, well, why would you pay for Artex if you can get these, you know, at this price? But there is a difference. I mean, for colouring books, it's not desperately important, I don't suppose, but if you've got the funds, I've just put up the Artex new Simtap pens. I've done a little review on those, and yeah, they are incredible, the smoothness. But then 168 colours, you can't really go wrong, can you? Okay, so that was 818, and then this is 706. So this is almost white, but it is a very, very pale blue. There we go. I'm going to streak that in. And you can flick with them because they're brushes, so you can kind of flick that colour in. Can you see? You can see through that one. And I'm just going to put some more movement in there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to come back, not to our darkest, to the next one down, which was 820, and then I'm just going to pull this line out here, and then quickly grab the darkest one, and then we're going to have to go back and forwards to blend. So, and what it will do is this pen will pick up that darker colour, and we should be able to get a, as long as it's wet, a sort of smoother transition. Can you see that? There we go. But I think as far as the water goes, at the moment, we'll leave it be. So I need to put these pens to one side so I don't get mixed up. So I'm going to put them there. Okay, now I got out some rock colours here, or what I thought would be good enough for rock colours. There's a cold grey, a warm grey, and then obviously there's some white here, but I think we might need more than that. But you have to start off, like I say, any paint, you have to start off and then let it dry. So I think I'm going to go in, let me just check the swatch. Oh, come on. Which is the darker of the two. Oh, 610 is definitely the darker. And then I think we'll pull another one. 86. If I can find it. I'm not very good at... Bear with me. I want to give a chance for that to dry as well. What am I looking for? I've got that one. I want 853. There it is. Okay. So I've now got the white, which I'll put to one side for a minute. I've got 610, 853 and 686. Okay, give them a shake. And my darkest is 610. So I'm going to start with my darkest. And then we'll work our way round from there. So let's start in with this fiddly little bit here. And I'm going to have to work round those leaves. I'm just going to leave a sort of approximation of the leaves because we can come in, and because it's acrylic you can go over it. And that's the other thing I love about it. So if you make a mistake, let it dry, go over it. Okay. Sorry, it's going to be a bit fiddly, this bit. So as long as I leave a sort of approximation of where those leaves were, I can put them back in with just a little flick of the brush. So I just want to get this base in like we would with colouring. Well, we are colouring, but like we would with pencils is what I mean. I decided to do this book instead of the other one because it got hardly, you know, the flip through that I did, and I purchased that, but the ones that were £4. It didn't get a lot of views, and also it was sold out. I have brought the other ones, the animal ones, and they are gorgeous. So I'll probably do those off camera because you're just under so much pressure from the YouTube algorithms to do what's right, to get views. That's the problem. And it certainly lets you know when you're not doing very well. It says this video is 10 out of 10 and not performing as well as it usually, not performing as usual or something like that, it says. Yeah, and it's quite very disheartening. So I'm basing this whole rock, and that's where the fun will come in, is when we start to put in the little details like that, you know, when we start to, it will start to come alive when we put the leaves and things on. And if we want to do some more blending in the water, things like that, that's when it becomes good fun. But to protect your paper, it's a really good idea. If once you've got a base of acrylic down and let it dry, it becomes so much easier to work with because you've got that protection over the paper. Okay, nearly there, folks, nearly there. Oh gosh, look how shaky I am. Yeah, so the 13.5, yes, I felt really shaky. Hadn't had anything to eat. That was when I first woke up. felt really shaky, and so I decided to test then, and it was 13.5 without having had anything to eat. So, and then I checked again later on when I felt okay, and it was 5 point something, I think. So I have no idea what's going on, and I think the doctors think that when I went, I saw the diabetic nurse. I think they think that the machines that you buy from the pharmacy are not very reliable. Well, they're not going to be as reliable as a blood test, I know, but surely they give some indication as to what's going on. So I'm reluctant to go back because I felt a little bit like I was wasting their time. Okay. Oh, nearly. So any sort of rougher areas, like I said, look, you'll just be able to go straight over the top and neaten things up. So don't worry about mistakes, because you can cover them. Don't worry about things not being as neat as you'd like, because you can come back and forth. As soon as you've got that base down, come back and keep playing. That's probably what I love about it, is that it takes the fear out of things. When I was learning to colour, I brought pastel pencils, as in chalk pastel pencils, and that really helped, because I knew to a certain extent, you know, sometimes it stains, but to a certain extent that any mistakes could be erased. And I used those, and it really helped to teach me to blend colours together. So this is a whole new learning curve. Alright, we're nearly there. It's a big rock, but I thought it would be best to show you this one. Okay. Now this does take quite a while. It does take a long time. It's not a quick process. It's not a quick... Well, it can be if you just want a flat colour, but... Okay, so we're left now with the warm one, which is more like a French grey. And then, so 853. Well, let's streak some in and see what happens. And I've left that little bit up there. Let's put some in. So I'm going to put some lighter areas in. Now this is not blended, this is just going in and seeing what comes out. And we'll just put some like rocky formation in here. And here's where they come into their own, these pens, because they're not opaque. You can do this and get, you know, that other colour coming through, which is lovely. So I'm going to put some up here. A bit more under here. Dab some texture in. We'll put some up here where we haven't done any colour. Take that top edge off. And then we'll switch to the next colour, which is it 989 or 6? That's the only thing. It's 686. And we'll put some of that in. So this is a much lighter colour. And then we can come back later with some mossy greens and play about like that. So it's drying now, which makes it a little harder to obviously to blend it. If you can do it while it's wet, it's so much easier. But then just creating a little bit of texture in there, and then let that dry. And then we've got this one. So I'm wondering, we need a little darker, I think. Let's play. So 693. This is like a blue grey, which would be perfect for underwater. Give it a good shake because they do separate, and then you can get like really watery paint come out if you don't shake it. Okay, let's put some of this really dark blue. Let's see what that's like, and if we don't like it, we can get rid of it. I'm going to colour over those bubbles at the bottom, and I'll put my own back in. But let's bring that up. Oops. Yep, great streak on the other page. It's the last page, I think. Oh, it's the last page of the book. I definitely didn't plan to do this one. And then we'll put a little bit up here. Bear with me here. I know it's quite a stark colour here. Let me wet that edge again, and then let's get that. I'll tell you the number in a minute. There we go, look at that. Pull that out. And that's because we've got that acrylic base already down there. And then the best pencils I've found to go over any of them is oil-based pencils. And that's probably because they fight less against the plastic. You will need to clean your brush off, so we do need a piece of paper. Let's see. Checking I haven't written anything on there. So you'll have to like clean it off like you would if you were using a Tombow blender to get your colour to come back. And then let it dry. And then you can come back, revisit it when it's dry, put some detail and things in. So rather than torturing you and making you watch while I do the other two rocks the same, I'm going to go and do those rocks with those 4 colours, and then I'll join you back here and maybe we'll look at our mermaid next. Alright, I'll see you shortly. Right, I finished the rocks and give it just a bit of chance to dry off. Well, I haven't finished them, but we're going to tidy this up now. So I'm going to come in with my Tule Arts. I've got my pastel set, and I've got a very dark grey from the Southwestern set. So I'm going to come in with white to start with, and we're going to tidy this water up. So I'm going to give myself, just make sure it's working. I'm going to give myself some nice white outlines. Like that. We'll have a little bit coming up on this rock here. Now, as long as the acrylic underneath is dry, your paint pen works just amazing on it. And then we just tidy it up with the details. So I'm picking out the different areas of colour and just outlining it. You can't see here. So it tidies it all up, gives our water some movement, and makes a huge, huge difference when you start putting the detail in, because this is going to look like I've painted it. I mean, that's what it is, isn't it? You know, I'm going to come around that. Oh, there we go. Let it dry. Come around that bubble. Don't pump your pen on your page, folks. It's a big no-no. I'll pick up the ink. Oh, the paint, rather. Yeah, so it's not fast, but it is such good fun if you can take your time and do it slowly. And you'll end up with a picture that looks like you've painted it. And if you're a colour by numbers fan, so like that, I've put those bubbles in, and we'll be able to come back and put some detail on those later. So I'm just going to put some more white on here. And it doesn't have to be super neat, because it's water, but it just makes a huge difference to how it looks, I think. There we go. So I'm going to have to avoid that now. Okay. I've got some other colours, but I don't put that down because I'm going to put my hand in that. So I've got the Tule Art Pastel pen, which is number 1, which is Lullaby. And it's a lovely... Look, Lucy, move stuff out of your way. It's a lovely, soft French grey. So I'm going to outline the top of this rock, if I can get it working. Hang on, bear with me. There we go. Now you might be able to do this if you've got a steadier hand than I have, but I've got, as you can see, terribly shaky. So you might be able to do it with the actual brush pens. But it's nice just to put a little bit of finer detail in there. And you can just sort of dot it in so it blends out. Like that. And then don't forget, we'll come back and put some mossy bits on it. I'm just aware that I'm going to put my hand in those great big splodges of white. Not that it matters, because we'd be able to go over it, but... So just do the edge here. Put some dots of this colour in. Texture. Like that. Don't do it, Lucy. And even like on these darker bits we can put some more sort of refined areas. And that's the difference. Like, this is Tule Art, obviously, and they are so opaque, they're amazing. So there was a divide down here on this rock, so I'm going to put that in. But these, if you want to do colouring, the brush pens that I'm showing you, want to do colouring, they're superb for that, because you can see through them. They're less opaque to start with. Okay, and we need some at the top here too. Over here. And see, just those few fine details, I think sort of really sets it off. And we'll pull some up here. Can make some like that. Something like that, anyway. Okay, I'm going to go off camera. Before I put my hand in that, I'm going to dry it with the heat gun. Get rid of that. I might as well do these bubbles too, and then we can come in and put colours on these bubbles. And I need to colour back over that line, I think. Well, we'll see. We can put some colour on these bubbles. It's very difficult actually trying to explain how I've done this. It's just playing and coming backwards and forwards with it. Don't pump it on the page, Lucy Loop. And I get covered, I get plastered in it. Okay, right, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back and well, we've got the leaves. We could put the leaves in, couldn't we? Have a look at that. I don't know. Whatever. I'll come back with something planned. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, my massive bubble splodges are dry. So I've got a skin colour. We're going to try this. I haven't done this entirety. I haven't coloured the skin in its entirety with paint pens. So we'll see how it works. It's a bit scary, but... So I've got 719. We're going to try that. Now these dry... That's been blended. Look, you can see I've used that one. These will dry slightly darker, so... But incredibly beautiful skin tones here. And I'm going to try, I think... Well, we'll just see how it goes, Lucy. Just stop chatting and colour. So I'm just going to fill her in with this colour and see what happens. That's what I'm talking about. So you can see the black lines through, which is really helpful, particularly with if you're like me and you can't draw. Okay. Oof. Right. I have to be careful around her facial features, otherwise we'll lose her and she'll look very odd. And a little earring. Now what you could always do is, which I haven't, is take a photograph of the picture first on your phone, so that you can come back to reference what your pen has coloured over. And what my instincts would be for this page is to come in with alcohol markers for the background and then use paint pens to enhance it. That would be my instinct. Now I'm not much of a Zen Doodle fan, so if you're not either, you can colour over bits that you don't like and you don't want and get rid of them. There we go. Right, we'll leave her like that, let her dry. I've got some colours for leaves here, so we'll see how this goes. That, I think, look, is a different colour because I hadn't shaken the pen enough. And that's another thing, you know, with these more budget style, you know, they're still expensive and they are beautiful. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just telling you the difference is you do have to be aware of shaking them, and although that's not going to look bad. Okay, so I've got, for the leaves, I've got 682, 687 and 735. Which ones should we do? Let's try this big one so I don't have to move the page around. So, okay, I'm going in with the darkest. So the 682. And I'm going to start in the centre and I'm going to pull out this design. Pretty much like we would if we were just colouring with pencil. Next colour in is 687 and I'm dabbing it. Like you would with a sponge. And then the last brighter colour, dabbing that too. Like I say, this is going to look, because it is paint, it's going to look like it's been painted. So if you don't like that look, then mix it up. Use like alcohol markers or your pencils, and then just use paint pens for embellishments. You know, you don't have to do the whole picture. It's just that I promised that I would. I've never done it before, so it is a bit of a challenge for me to do, which is lovely. To push yourself. And then I'm just dabbing those colours in. And go back in with that, the darker one. We might even need a further dark one, I think, to put some of the distinction between the leaves back in. But I'll keep going on this side for a minute and we'll see how it comes out. Because they dry darker, so we'll see. Need a bit more of that mid-tone in there, I think. Dab it on. And then the light tone. Yeah, I think I will grab a darker. Well, we could do that with a fine paint pen, couldn't we? And put the detail back in. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start on another leaf. Let me get them in the right order again. Dark to light, otherwise I'll pick the wrong one up. So there we go, dark, mid, and light. A bit more light on this one. Okay, and then see what I mean, it's going to take a long time, so but I really enjoy it. And then like the water, once we come back in, I know it has to go through a messy stage, as I call it, before you get the results. But it's just like when you're painting, isn't it? You don't expect the finished picture just in a couple of layers. Pop that in, and then we'll get our light one. Put a little bit of light in the edge there. Okay. So before I lose all definition of that, I am going to take the, let's take the Southwestern set, or any set you've got on a dark green. They've got cactus green in here, which is really dark, so number 7. I might not be able to put up all the numbers on the screen for this one, ladies and gents, because it's going to take forever. I'll see how, I'll just make sure it's working. Here we go. So I'll see how we go for time, but I'm just going to put that cactus in. I'm going to outline it for a minute. And then I'm going to come back with our darkest of the paintbrush pens, and just break up that line. Is this the darkest? Just break up that line. Like that. Just so it's not so bulky. Like that. And then I'm going to come back with the lightest and do the same on the edge and break up that line. Come back in with the mid. And I'll just keep playing with it until backwards and forwards with the colours until I get like a blend that I'm happy with or looks half decent. But like I say, this is not, you know, I've only done one picture, I think, when I did it entirely, I think, where it was entirely with paint pens. And then we'll carry on this side. So, get the darkest one. And take some of that out there. And then alternatively we could colour the whole leaf in one colour and then just put details in. But it's not. And like I say, it's going to look a holy mess until I've sorted it all out. Right, I'm going to try and smooth this off now a bit. It's looking a bit unkempt. And this is what I mean. I'm not happy with it, so I'll go back over it. So I'm going to bring that dark down the centre. We'll try it this way. And this what makes it such a lovely experience, you know. I didn't like it, wasn't working for me. So I'm going to change it up. And if I still don't like it, I can colour over it again when it's dry. Okay, too much dabbing I think went on with that leaf. I hate it, so I will have to let it dry. Let's try this one. I'm going to try it differently, so I'm going to go from the dark one like this. Then into the mid one. And then into the light one. And I think that looks much better. Like that. Much better. Okay, so I'm going to let that one dry. So that's how I'm going to do it. So experimenting, like I said. So let's do this one. Let's come up the top and do these ones because they're the same. Take the dark one and we're going to pick one side, and I'm going to take out the outline because I think that helps in this instance. Tidy up that edge from my shaky hands. we're going to put the dark on one side. Like that. Okay, let's go in with the next colour. And it's the light one. Put a bit of a lighter edge on there, maybe down the centre. Okay, let it dry. That's still soaking wet. Okay, let's do this one, redo this one, and then I'll go off and do them. But that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to change this one completely. So I'm going to do the dark at the bottom here. And I'll pick a more suitable colour. That's a little bit too dark, that colour that I chose. When it's dry and I've finished them, to come back in with and do an outlining if we need to. Now I'm going to go over that dark with my light. That's my tummy rumbling, I do apologise. I get engrossed with these things and then forget. I forget survival instincts, like you must eat. I'm joking. I don't have that problem, I wish I did. Okay. Alright, and then we let them dry and we can see what mess I've made of the page. There we go. And then, so I'll go back over that. I'm going to do all these big like palm leaves the same as those two, and I promise you it will look better when I've finished and it's dry and I've selected a better colour, like from the Southwestern set, that one, agave. Yeah, I'll get it all going and then I'll come back and show you. Alright, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, this is how far I've got. I have to be honest, I'm feeling a little bit self-conscious because the leaves didn't come out as I'd wanted. So I went round them with that number 8 from the Southwestern with just sort of a deep olive, just to give them a little bit of definition. Just like on the underside, not trace the outline, that's it. So going back to the skin, I had to go back over her arm, you know, like where I said I hadn't shook the pen enough. So let's do her skin. And I've got the original colour, which was 719, and then I've got 624 and 625. And we'll see how this goes. Alright, so I'm going to go in with 625. Let's see how we get on with that. I'm not going to do her face first, that would be foolish. And like we did with the leaves, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to bring this down, and it's just a little bit more fiddly. And up here. Okay. Then we're going to go in with the 624. It's a bit more pink, and then back to the 625, the darkest. Like that. And then I'm coming back in with the lightest one. Like that. Okay. Alright, let's do the same down here. Maybe if I stop talking and just do it like I would normally do, I wouldn't feel so self-conscious. But as soon as I turn the camera on, I'm like, oh God, I can't do it. I am going to put that one back in, although it's sort of very pinky. I think it does help when we blend the final colour over it. I think it does help. Purpley, more purpley, isn't it? But I think it's a pretty colour. Put that in, and then we'll go in with the final layer of the very palest one. That's not too bad. Like I say, if you're going for smooth like you get when you do colouring, it's not going to happen, is it? This is paint, so it's going to look like paint. So back in with our dark, I'm just going to dab this where I want that shadow. And then that pinky one's going to look quite good on her face, I think. Just going to have to remember to put an eyebrow back in. Let's dab this in. And then we'll come back in with our lightest colour and dab that in too. Smooth that out a bit. We could make her into a chubby one. And then I'm going to take the darkest one, the 625, and no, I'm not. No, I was going to do her lips, but I'm not. Let's do this little tiny fairy in our lightest colour. It's quite a challenge. But the good thing about that is when we do the background, we can cover over any sort of mess ups. Just dot that colour in there, like that. Okay, so I'm going to knock a little bit of that back. So that purpley one's a bit much, I think. There. See, this is why it takes so long, because A, I'm not experienced at doing it, and B, you have to keep layering it up to try and get it right. Okay. Smooth that off. Alright. Okay, see, the difference is when they're wet, when they're wet, they look very different to when it's dry and finished. So that's the challenge. Okay, I want some colours for her hair and her body, so I'm going to go and choose those while this dries off. And then I'll meet you back here and you'll be able to see hopefully the difference of when she's dry as opposed to wet. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, I think she's dry. So I've got some hair colours. We'll just see again how this goes. I've got white, I've got yellow, which is 732, and I've got like this beige colour, 717. So what I'm going to do is take each strand separately. I think you get how I'm doing this like now, but Where should we come in? Let's do the top ponytail. So I'm going to come in and follow the swirl with the beige. Okay. This is probably going to take a few layers to get this right. Then the yellow. Because we're going to have to come and put some, like, I'm sure we'll have to come back in and put some detail in here. And maybe even a darker colour. Going back to that beige. So I might not get this whole page done. I'm just thinking how long we've been, well, how long I've been doing it. And it's a lot is to do with self-confidence, you know. It's very different to what I would normally do on camera. And it's those feelings of inadequacy, you know, not that it's what I'm doing is not good enough. But every picture I do anyway, every picture that I do goes through what I call the ugly stage, and you have to sort of just trust the process and just keep working with it. Okay, back to that beige, put some more in that little swirl there. Put some flicks in. I'm just going to go for it and stop worrying about it. I'll put details in later. Like I say, normally I would use them to enhance my colouring. When I get fed up with a page, it's like, oh yeah, we'll put some acrylic paint markers on it. But this will be okay. It's just, I'm trying to convince myself more than you guys, but it's just allowing it to build up. And that's very difficult to do on camera, folks, you know, because people come on, click on a video and they'll be like, yeah, the Lucy, that's rubbish, but none of the details are put in, it's not finished, you know, and people are very quick to judge. So I'm feeling very self-conscious about it all. And it looks very different from when we do with pencil, doesn't it? As you would expect with acrylic paint. I'm going to come around the top of that with that yellow. Like that. And it also looks very different when it dries. Coming in with the beige around here. Okay, let's fill this bit up. That might have been a nice colour to use for the skin, actually, this one. As our dark colour. I might put that on instead of her sunburn one. And that's another thing about it. It's hard to judge because you can do your swatches, but they do look very different when you start to blend them, and they dry. Acrylic paints dry darker for your light colours. Okay, so we need to let that dry, and then I can put some swirls back in. So we'll put the yellow here on the top of our hair here, bring a little fringe out. And we'll get that beige. That is a really pretty colour actually, would be great for her skin, so I'm going to put that on in a minute. Around here. I'm just going to switch between this beige and this pale yellow. Give her some curls coming off the top there. And the beige in here. Okay, I'm going to put, maybe not actually because we've done her hair. Right, I have to let that dry. It's still quite tacky. It's coming with a little bit of white on the top here. Yeah, I think I probably need to let it dry. Okay, going to let that dry. Alright, what I'm going to do is choose 3, because the video is getting really long. I'm going to choose a different colour combination for these leaves. I'll let you know what the combinations are, but I'm going to go and do those off camera. I think I'm going to use this deeper olive for the little leaves here. So if I bring you in and show you that actually, for these little leaves, I'm just going to pull that detail in there, and then I'll bring out the light colour just to do one side. So we just get the 2 tones like this. Okay, then I'll bring out the, let's take the mid-tone that we had, the 687, and we will put that on the top. Like that. So I'm going to do those little leaves like that. I'll come back in with a different combination for these and this, I think. Oh, actually, let's just do it. Video's long as it is anyway. So let me see, what have we got? Let's do, where's that? That's very bright. Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to go off because I can't find them. Alright, I'll let her dry. Here we are. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's just a slow process. It's just a very slow process. I wonder if we do her pink, her tail, pinks, because we've got a lot of pinks here. So, how about we go in with 606. My trouble is trying to find the flipping things. 606. It's like a purpley pink, and then down to 658, 658, and then, oh, we've got a lovely soft one there, 836. 836. Oh, come on. Right, you guys, I think there's no way that I'm going to have the time to put all the colours up for this. It would take a million years to edit this video. So, 606, 658 and 836. Let's try this, because the reason I say that is it will tone down her skin colour as well. And it's a beautiful colour palette, pink and green and blue. Okay. I'm going to flick that in. Might need more than one layer for this. And then the next colour, which is 658. Let's flick up into that. Ooh, Barbie pinks. It's going to take quite a bit of covering, quite a few layers, I think. And then, see, it looks really scraggly while it's wet, and then as soon as it's dried it looks so much better. So it's, I know I'm making excuses, but a bit of that light pink there. Come back to our mid pink. And then back in with our dark pink. Okay, that's toned her sunburn down. A few dabs here and there. Ooh, getting like scales, look. Okay. And like I say, experiment, experiment, experiment. If I don't like it when I've done it, we can remove it all. Colour over it. And we'll put a few of the pale ones in. We've got mermaid scales. Isn't that cool? There we go. Alright, I'm going to let that dry. So I'm going to go off and do some leaves. I'll give you the combination when I've done them. I'm going to do these little ones, like I said. And that needs a brighter tone on that. Ah, I've just messed up my scales. Right, I'm going to wait. I'll be back. Hopefully when I haven't messed up my scales. I've just put my great hand in it. Right, okay. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here we are. I've done the mermaid's tail exactly as I did that bit. And the rest of the leaves were filled in with this combination. If you want the combination, is 791, 792 and 690. And as well as the number 8 from the southwestern set, the agave, I don't know. And I pulled out number 9, which is yucca olive to go round them. There was no point in me redoing it because it was all repetition of just how we'd redone it. So I've pulled a colour now, she's completely dry. I've pulled a colour out to go around her hair. Same set, the southwestern. And I've got number 22, which is called this one. I don't know how you say that. Alicia, you're going to have to help me. It looks French. I don't know. So I'm going to put some detail back in her hair. So I'm going to come around here with the little swirl at the bottom. And I might have to go back in with the paint pens again. We'll see. The brush pens, because I'm very shaky. And when you first put this in, sometimes it just doesn't look great and you have to sort of refine it. Like that, see, messed it up. But I can still see some of the black through, so I'm just going to follow that. And I've got some splatter there, look. But, like I said earlier, we can go back over all of this. And if you want to recover the whole thing, you can. Okay, there's a swirl in here. A swirl in here. I mean, this is the thing with Denyse Klette's work. It is very cartoon style, and in some respects it's good to keep that and sort of respect that style. I'm just going to put some little curls here, and then I'm going to come back in and take out any bits that I really don't like. So I'm going to keep going with this colour at the top here. It's got a lot of curls going on there. But this is the thing about, you know, changing it up. I might hate that. Okay, I'll change it, you know, it's so cool. Alright, I'm going to come down and change this. put in some more deliberate, definite lines. See how shaky I am? That's the only trouble. It shows up so much. Pen got clogged. If you're still with me, let me know, will you, in the comments? Because, well, I did look. I went and had a look, and it's not as long as I thought. I thought it was going to be much longer than that. And I've cut a lot out by the repetition of the leaves. Sorry about the scrapey sound there. Okay. Alright, then I'm going to go back in with that, where's that pen that we used originally? Oh, it's this one, isn't it? The 717, is that right? Yeah. Okay, which was that, like that light, yeah, the light, like tan colour. I can take out and refine any of the bits that I'm not happy with. Like if I feel like I've put too much in. I'm going to pull out some, so I'm not happy with that. I think I'm going to change these. But it's going to pick up that pen that we've put underneath, so we get that mixture of colours. And I can follow the shape of those swirls. Bring out her curls like that. This is why I love it, folks. Didn't like it, and I've just obliterated it. Okay. I'm going to come in and do the same with the yellow. Where's that light yellow we had? Where are all those pens gone? There. I'm going to come back in now with some yellow. And again, it's going to pick up those colours. And then we'll finish off her tail. Little curly bits. Go back to that beigey colour, just so they blend in together. Okay. Smooth out some of that with just some more deliberate strokes, because I get a little bit sort of jaggedy with it. Don't like a hair. Don't like that part. Okay, let it dry. Okay, let's finish her tail. So if I get those pinks back out, same pinks as we used for the body, and we're going to take the darkest of them, and I am going to pick out where the dark parts would be, so we can get away with it being a little bit more linear and oh god, that made me oh my god. Oh, somebody at the door. It's alright, the husband's home, so he will get it. So I'm going to come round here. Oh my gosh, Amazon actually knocked on the door. It's not for me. Can't complain though. You wait till you see how much I have had. I can't wait to share with you. Okay. Next colour. Let's get that in quick. Oh, I'm getting it all of it in her hair. Okay, and then I'm going to put the light colour in. Okay. mid colour. And the light again. Alright, just clean off my light one. Okay, let's get the dark. So there's going to be dark here. Fill that in. And we just have to see how this works with paint pens. It might not work, and I might have to do the whole tail like that blend, but I might just blend it. Okay, get the mid-tone. I think I'm going to bring that round. Now I've changed the design to meet her hair there. Like that. I'm going to have to call this one How I Colour with Paint Pens, because this is what I do, is just prat about with them until this one needs a shake, I think. Go back to the mid one while we're still wet. And the dark. Look at that, how that builds up now. Look, you've got paint on the page. Okay. Is that the light now? That's the mid one. Just trying to cover the lines up. And we'll come in with the light one. See? It's a lot of to-ing and fro-ing. That's picked up a lot of the dark, so I'm just going to wipe it off. So I'm going to keep practicing with them. because I do enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to have to let that dry for a minute. I think I'm going to come in with some white on her hair. Let's take a normal white brush. And then we'll come in with some white, I think. So let's give her some... Let's give her some curls round here. And we can bring out that bottom and the top. There we go. Alright. I think we need more definition, really. But I'm sure there's only so much that you can watch of me fiddling and faffing. Alright, we need to let that dry. Okay. So what's left? We've got the leaves in our bra. I'm going to do those colours, I think. So let's bring in the 791. Um, 792. And then the last one, which is 690, which is more like a sort of green grey. It's a beautiful colour. We'll do those ones. Okay. And then flowers, I think we need some purple. Do we want purple? Because this is quite purple, isn't it? Oh, I don't know, folks. I think I've had enough for the time being. I might go off and finish it off either later or tomorrow morning, because I need to let it dry, and I'm just rushing now to try and finish her off. And it's a shame, because I've put a lot of work into it. So I'll see you shortly. Okay guys, good morning. I had to step away from it yesterday because I was getting myself in a tiz because I didn't think it was good enough. So we're going to do the sky, and I've got 3 colours: 689, 821 and 736. Very, very pale blue one. Beautiful colour. Okay, so if I bring you in slightly, there we go. Right, so the tail I'm going to put more detail on. I might put like some white detail and stuff. So I'm going to take the 689, the darker of the blues, and I'm going to start to fill in this sky, and then we can put some clouds and things on. And then while we're doing the sky, we can adjust any of the details that we're not happy with by just colouring over it. So like I've got a pink line there on the tail that I can get rid of. And reshape that. And this blue will dry darker as it dries, it will dry darker. It's still giving me a lot of anxiety, and I don't know why, because I think it's because I'm paying close attention to all the fine details, but when you look at the picture as a whole, and you have to remember this is not pencil, this is painted. So it's going to look different to what I'm used to, isn't it? So I'm going to come up here. And like I say, this is the point at which I can refine her tail, her Lady Diana hair, so I can bring that round a little bit more. And then next week I will, I think I might have to, I don't know whether I split it in 2 parts or whether just to do one massive birthday haul gifts. We'll see how long they are. But while I'm away on holiday, I will put up my birthday presents that I've received. All colouring related, of course. Because when anybody says, what would you like for your birthday, other than an Irish cottage, I say, colouring supplies, please. Okay, so I'm going to colour round her hair to start with, and then, but I would like to sort out some of this bulk here. Because she's got quite a bit of a noggin going on at the top here, hasn't she? So we could sort of bring it down a bit. Okay, so I'm sorry it's just straight colouring, but I'm just going to go in and we could take that bump off, and then we'll put another curl or something in the front. We'll put some curls coming off that so it doesn't look so big. She's got 80s hair. Do you remember those, any of you that are old enough, do you remember those perms, the 80s perms? And then we had the 90s, late 90s, the spiral perms that were like ringlets. I loved those. I had really long hair and had my hair done like that. I loved it. They still look nice now, I think. Around her little toes on our little fairy. That's what kind of hair she's got. She's got 80s hair. Just trying to reshape her a bit. There we go. This is the fiddly bit for me because of shaking. Is getting around all these leaves, but this should be the last bit of big spaces, and we're on the home stretch then, I think, once we're... See what a fine line you can get with them when you're not shaking all over the place. Okay. So I won't make you watch anymore. I am just going to fill up the background space in here, and then I'll come back and we can do some clouds. We've got the little flowers to do, and then we are done. I'll see you shortly. Okay, the sky's filled in, but it's still drying off, so we'll leave it like that. Let's have a look at some of these little flowers. So I've got the Tule Art pastel pens out here, and I've got number 20 and number 22. I love these pens. These are my favourite. I use these all the time. I absolutely adore them. So I think we'll try and go beautiful oranges and yellow. Like that. Let's fill that one up. And then we'll put some little yellow bits. Ooh. Put some little yellow bits in here. Like that, we can refine it up in a bit. So we'll let it dry as usual, and then we'll come back and tidy it up. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. And then when they're dry, which doesn't take too long, we'll play about with that design. Like already I'm playing about with it, so I'm putting all that orange on, and then we'll come back and we'll sort them out when they're dry. So I'm going to go and fill them all in with the orange. I think I'm going to do the orange first, let that dry, and then I'll come in with the yellow and refine them. So I think, yeah, I think I'm going to colour them all orange. I could have done this with one of the brush pens actually. There we go. So I'm going to go and colour them all orange, all the flowers, including the one in the hair. And then I'll meet you back here and we'll do a little bit of playing about with the design on these flowers. So I'm just making sure that I've covered all the black. Tidying up that shape a bit. That's better. Make sure all the black's gone. Right, see you shortly. Okay, so I've done the flowers and they worked out better than I thought actually. So I filled them in and I've left these ones blank so I can show you what I did. And to my surprise, my gel pen works even better than I'd anticipated. So I did the centre of the flower with that 22 that we did on her hair. And then I went round with the 20 orange from the pastel set, and then using that yellow 22, oh, we'll do that in a minute, hang on, white jelly roll pen, pulling out that outline leaf detail, sorry, petal detail, look how cute those little cartoon flowers are. Look how cute that is. So I'm thrilled with that because it means I can do the detail that I wanted on her tail. Like I say, the reason why I think I've got a lot of anxiety for this is because this is new to me too. I have, you know, I've done the pages, you've seen my finished pages in my colouring books, but I have never done a complete page with it all, with just paint pens. There'd usually be alcohol markers or some pencil. Okay, so I've outlined those, and I'm going to take the number 22, the yellow, and just put at the top side of these little flowers a couple of little yellow dots like that. And then these ones over here, these little clusters, I literally just took the white gel pen and drew in some little like wobbly round shapes. That's the best way I can describe them, really. Some little wobbly round shapes like that. And then I took the orange and coloured in our little fairy's hair and outlined it white, and I took the very palest of the pinks, coloured that in and outlined the wings white. Okay, very cute. Oh, her earring with the darkest pink, and then I'm just gonna put a little white edge on that earring like that, and on her bikini strap we'll do the same there. I'm just trying to reduce the amount of time you have to watch me just colouring the same things. So I'm going to give her a white line on the top of her arm here, trying to cover up that black, if my hands will stay steady enough. Any black that's left. And any greens that were left, I just dotted in the colour for her bikini. And we'll do a white bit round her little tummy, and we can even add a few more white, bright white tiny scales to the lightest parts of her tail, just so she's got a bit of reflection coming off the light, making her look like she's wet from just coming out of the water. Like this. See, this is the good fun part, is putting all these little details in when you're not so, you know, you've done it and you've done the hard part. And I think we'll run some white down the front there as well. There we go. And we'll put some little bits up here. Gotta love jelly rolls, people. There we go. So she's got a little bit of reflection. So then the next major part will be this tail. And I'm gonna have to come out because it's massive. Put those pens down now. I hope you don't mind me skipping on ahead and doing that, but we'd have been here for like forever, I think, otherwise. And I've still shown you how I've done it. So what I wanted to do was bring some detail into this tail with the white. So I'm going to pull, I hope this works, a white line all the way down here. Would you look at that? No hand spasm. And then she says, now I'll have one. And round this edge too. Yeah, that's not going to work. It's the angle that I'm at, I think. Okay, I've got a wobbly edge, but never mind. Okay, around there. I want a bit round the top, which probably won't show up too much. Let's fill that little gap in. Around there. And then I think we'll add one coming from here, the top point that I'd created, all the way down to meet there, and another one all the way down to meet there, and another one about, oh, shaking, another one about here, like that. Okay, you could add more in, we could add some scales in even too, but I think just keeping it simple in this instance works. Okay, right, clouds, let's just put some different variations. So we use that, whoops, that's 689. I'm going to come in with 821 and 736. And then let's just, at this top corner here, let's just put like kind of cloudy shape in there. I'm not going to do too many of these, but, and then we'll take that lightest colour and dab that in. It's like a sort of bluey grey colour. Okay, let that dry. I think we'll put one in over here. There's like quite a big open space here, so let's just build up some kind of cloudy shape here, like that, and then we'll put that grey in at the top. Well, that, I think it's just a very like a cloud blue in the Prisma set. Yeah, I think we have to let it dry to see the, and then when we come back we'll just put a drop of white in there too. Should we have another one? Let's do one down here. One of those delicate little arms around that leaf. Little cloud there, in with that blue grey. Like that. A bit more concentrated on that one. Okay, and then the last one I think we'll slot one down here too. Like that, and then that blue grey in the top. Like that. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to dry, the other thing, let's see, here they are, my jelly rolls. I've got Jelly Roll Moonlights, love these because they're flat, they're not glittery. I had some pennies gifted to me for my birthday from my members, again, members and Patreon. And that's a Moonlight too. So I might, there's a big Temu thing of gel pens. I might look into getting some of those. I can't remember what they were called. Somebody in my group will put it in the chat probably, if they're still here, that is. So we can just then pick out, I'm going to take this yellowish one. We can pick out even more detail on these leaves. Take away any edges that we don't want to see. just while we wait for those clouds to dry off. Like, I can still see black there, so I'm going to get rid of that with my gel pen. So this is, if I hold it up, that's the code. Ooh, come on, camera. We're not on holiday yet. There we go. That's the code for it. Refocus. Yeah, and we can just refine any parts that, like I've got black peeping through, and I don't want that there. I mean, if I've gone painterly, I want it all to look painterly. So we'll just use that to fill in. Any of those little gaps, like here, look, round here, that I'd left black because I obviously felt I couldn't get that fine detail in with my pen, so I just left it like that. So we just fill it up. Around here, and then we're nearly done, folks. And if you're still with me, thank you so much. I know it's going to be a long video, but I couldn't do it any differently. And then obviously with the imposter syndrome, or I'm not good enough syndrome kicking in, that didn't help. So here what I'm going to do is bring a little curly whirl down. Let's switch to a different green, and we'll put some in here because Denise had drawn some in. I know there wasn't a lot, but there was some, and I think it just adds to the charm of the picture, doesn't it? All those little things. We'll have another one down here. There we go, and maybe one coming off here. A little spirally one. Have a little spirally one over here. There we go, little tendrils hanging off. Okay, so what we've got left is her eye. So I'm going to take another jelly roll pen, which is like a turquoise colour, and I'm just going to do that part of her eye with a bit of turquoise. And we need a lips, so I need a lip colour. Haha, look at this. This is a pink Uniball Signo, which is glittery. Oh, that'll be perfect. So I'm going to go in with pink, bright pink, sparkly lips. And we'll change that. Should we change the earring as well? Let's have a sparkly pink earring, and maybe we could put some in here. Like that. We could even add some little sparkly bits to her scales. There's just no end of possibilities when you put in all these supplies together that we've got. Gel pens, paint pens. And I just love how the gel pens work over the top of them. Okay, so one last thing. Let me put those back in my pot because I'll lose them. I'm notorious for losing them. Put them back in the pot. One last thing then. So we've got sparkly lips, a turquoise eye. I just want to put a little bit of white on the top of those clouds. So I'm taking the white brush pen and I'm just going to pick out some white fluffage on the top of the clouds. A little bit of white fluffage. She needs a mouth, that little one, but she's so tiny. And quite frankly, now I've had enough. And if you know what will happen if I try to put a mouth on her, I will shake, and the whole thing. She'll have a bright orange, a bright yellow, God's sake. A bright pink face, sparkly pink bright face. That would be awful. So I'm going to leave her the heck alone, I think. Put some white in here. Okay, and that'll dry off. And we've got some clouds. So after my anxiety, and if I was a bit braver, I'd probably put some more detail in the tail, but I don't feel I'm brave enough. After my anxiety, I think this picture has turned out really well. I have to stop, when I do new things, I have to stop not having faith in myself. And yes, there's things that could be improved upon, of course there are, so don't come at me saying, oh, that's no good and this is no good, if you're still here. And then bubbles. Pale pink, which is the 19, which is, oh no, that's out for a different project. Let's take that very pale pink, the very pale, that's very pale blue that we've used, and the yellow, and we'll put some colour on these bubbles. So let's just take one side of the bubble and put a little bit of colour on it. Just so they're not plain white. I think that will look cute. Like that. The yellow one. So that they're picking up the colours around them. That pink doesn't hardly shows up, but there we go. Okay, I'm going to step away. So other than feeling terrified that I'd fluffed it up beyond all recognition and would never be able to use the image, I'm actually really pleased with how it came out. So yes, there's lots of improvements. I'm still learning, but like I said, it's such good fun. I changed her hair. I changed those leaves. I hated it. Changed the leaves. There was a lot that I was like, yeah, I'm just going to play about with this until I'm happy, and it works, just playing. So there we are. Thank you for listening to my brambles and my insecurities. So I'm going to go now, and next week I'll be back. You'll see, I don't know whether I'll do it in 1 or 2 videos of all my beautiful birthday presents that I've been so kindly gifted. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and until we meet again next week, take really good care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.